Hello, everybody, and welcome to this cold, wintry day here in Hazard, Kentucky. Weather of the finest: snow, rain, 30-degree temperatures, 50-degree temperatures, 7-degree temperatures. You name it, we've had it. Plus, we've had people with everything. Well, no, I don't want that. No, so let's cancel that. I don't know why that's happening. I don't know why that's happening. Okay, let's continue on. I'm sorry we're on such a slow start. I lost track of time, but weather has been an awful thing through here. Let's get ready for what should be a good show. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Episode number 20 of the CJ Harris Show. I was not with you last week because I was in Corbin at an AMW wrestling event, which went very good. And they have another one scheduled for March 16th. I will not be at that one because it's Ashland. So, but these are gonna be some Sundays things we're gonna be doing. We're excited about it, and then we'll talk more about it later in the show. Let's get our list of people on the show. We're gonna have the Jones brothers with us. It's like brotherly love today. It's gonna be Kyle joining us at 8:10. Michael's going to join us at 8:30. Then we're going to talk to Knox Central Lady Girls basketball coach Steve Warren. Probably got the best player, I think, in the state of Kentucky, in Haley Collins. And then we're going to have a treat for you all. You're going to talk to Mackenzie Freeman at 9:30. She's going to fill in for Armando, who's out. I think Armando was doing some other stuff with family, so he's out. She's going to come in, and I'm excited about that. Oh, with me tonight, my co-host. He was supposed to be with me 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, he could not hold his head high. Now he's holding it a lot higher, and he's one of my favorites. And when we can get Jeff on, it is a great honor. Mr. Jeff Archer, former WYMT sports director and reporter. And Jeff, it's great to have you back.
It's always fun to be on, CJ. You know, I love my mountain family, and I love my mountain sports, and I try and keep my eye on it from time to time, especially as we close in on the end of the seasons, like basketball coming up now, and I'm getting excited about the Sweet 16 coming up. My girlfriend is a UK grad, so we've been watching a lot of UK basketball, and we always talk about getting down to the Sweet 16. Hopefully, we'll make it down there. We're about an hour from Lexington. We need to make it down there this year, and I'm telling you, I don't think I have time, but I'd love to make it down for the 13th Region Boys Basketball Tournament. We'll talk about that. I don't want to jump the gun, but there are 8 teams in the 13 region that could win that thing. That's stupidly absurd and insane. So I'm just excited about postseason basketball because
the thing is true though, because the bad thing about it is there's not a bad draw if you win your district or if you're the runner up. It's chaos all over the place.
Yeah, like okay, great, you won your district, your honor,
and you get say you're the 49th champion, you get rewarded with a 50th runner up. That might be Corbin or South Laurel. If I'm Clay or North.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's all. Listen, it's all. What's that way all the way through the entire? You got the defending state champions who are sitting there looking, going, okay. Listen, I have to give Harlan County a lot of credit. When they came back with 4 of their starters, and Maddox up there, a lot of people were going to focus on him. Maddox didn't get he hasn't got the focus that Trent got. I understand why, because Maddox went ahead and got his where he was going to go to school. This has been a Harlan County team though that if you watch them, they're just slowly taking care of business. Nobody's even paying attention to them because this is a district where I'll be real honest. I think South Laurel has the best team, but I think Harlan County is the most dangerous team. There's, I want to congratulate and also want you to keep him in your prayers. Congratulations to Brad Sizemore, the Bell County head and the basketball coach, boys coach. They had their baby. Of course, you've been following Facebook. It's a little sick. It's been needing some proper care. So the baby is still in the hospital. We want to give our prayers to Coach Sizemore. He's supposed to be on the show with me next week. Probably that will not happen because I'm not gonna bother him with his getting a brand new baby. I will ask you would he like to come on, but I do want you to pray for his wife and him and their families. Maybe doing better. We saw some good pictures today and got to eat. So I just want to say, everybody, you're out there. Let's pray for Coach Sizemore. Baby can get to go home maybe here in the next day or two, or the next little bit. So yeah, we really want that to play. That would be great. So I mean, I don't. A lot of people, if you've not been on Facebook, you haven't been following that story. I know Coach Jones. He might. Because all the coaches, when you're in one region or you're a mountain family, you follow other coaches, you follow other stories. And Coach Sizemore's a great guy, and the baby's a beautiful baby, and we want to come out of there healthy, and we want it to be able to get home. Now joining us is the head basketball coach of the Harlan County Blackbeard, Mr. Kyle Jones. Coach, thank you so much for being with us. You look like you're cold, so you're bundling up in a sweater. So that tells me that you're prepared and you're ready to rock and roll.
Thanks, guys, for having me on. No, just relaxing here at the house. You don't get much downtime during this time of the year.
No, you do not. And we was talking about how we're down to the final week of the regular season, and I was sitting here looking at people's games they have left, and you only got one left. You have a game with Knox Central tomorrow night, actually. If the weather progresses, if not, you may not play again until you play Monday night in the district or Tuesday whenever you start your district. So talk a little bit about that.
They just canceled that game for tomorrow night, so we're scrambling right now trying to find games. And with the predicted projection of the weather, it's kind of scary. We may end up not getting a game.
Coach, you coming off a nice win over South Laurel last week, 67-63. Talk about that win and what that does for your team mentally, because I know you got a couple wins after that, but when you beat a big opponent like that, that's got to do a lot for your team, right, to build that confidence.
Yeah, that was a big win for us. We felt like that's the best we'd played all year defensively. Anytime you play a Jeff Davis coach team, they really guard, and they're very tough to score on, and you have to match that defensive intensity, and that's what we aim for, and really proud of our kids. That was you're right. That was a very big win for us late in the season.
Coach, when I look at the 13th region, and I'm looking through it today, I'm scrolling through, I see like 8 different teams that could legitimately win the region. Normally go 2, 3, maybe a dark horse for a 4, maybe a 5, but I'm looking at 8. As a head coach in that region, does that keep you up at night going, oh my gosh, how do we get through this region? What is going on?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of parity in our region this year. I feel like it's from top to bottom, it's the best it's been in a while. It's been top heavy at times, like a lot of regions are in the mountains. But this year, I feel like I'm like you. There's several teams that could win it. It's just whoever gets hot at the right time.
Do you feel like you guys are hot right now at the right time?
Well, I think we're healthy. We've dealt with some injuries during the season, and the flu hit us pretty bad there for about a week, and the South Laurel game was the first time we'd been really 100% in a while. So we're glad, knock on wood, hopefully that continues. And, it's going to be a tough road. We played Harlan the other night, a crosstown rival. We beat them pretty good, but, they, the district first round's at third place, and we know how crazy to be in there. So, we're prepared. We're looking at game 1 in the district. We're not worried about anybody else right now.
Who do you guys have game 1 in the district? I didn't get a chance to see. Who do you guys have?
We play Harlan, independent. Like I said, we beat them twice, and they got a young team, but we're not going to overlook those guys. Our kids know that in a one and done situation, anything can happen, and we're going to prepare for those guys. Just like we would prepare for a South Laurel or a Clay County.
Does your success last year bleed over into this year? I mean, I know obviously Trent was a big part of that, but does that success last year, does that kind of get in the back of your kids' minds and go, we can do this again if we do what we did last year?
Yeah, I think it for sure helps. We've got, you know, 4 guys that played a lot of minutes last year and got a lot of experience. And, you know, and they've been in about any situation in basketball that can present to you. So, you know, that definitely helps to have that experience. And I feel like we're hoping that's going to benefit us down the stretch.
Speaking of Trent and Noah, that game against Tennessee the other night, are you sitting at home yelling at the screen? Are you yelling like we are? Or how did you watch that game and experience that game?
Oh man, it's like you're coaching him all over again. You're sitting there, you're so excited. My family was so excited, and you know, just I try to message him before a big game, or you know, just message him, tell him how well he's doing, and he's just a great representative of the mountain community. You know, all the mountain schools.
Well, you know, go back to last night. He played valuable minutes last night in the loss to Texas. He played 21 minutes. That's the most minutes he's played all year. Coach, he said after the game, he said, I need Trent on the floor more. Even when we get healthy, I need to see more of Trent. He goes, I've not played him enough. I didn't realize that he needs to be on the. He played 21 minutes and scored, I think, 8 or 9 points last night, and had good stats. And nobody looked at that last night. I studied the 21 minutes because he hadn't played that. He played 21 minutes probably all year together. So, because they were shorthanded last night too. They were without Jackson. They were out the other big guy. They were out 4 players last night. So I see why he played a lot of minutes.
Yeah, Trent's just he's such an intelligent basketball player. Sorry guys, I'm having to walk around a little bit. He's such an intelligent basketball player. I mean, he's got something, a lot of things. He does a lot of things that you can't coach and you don't see in the box score. I mean, he's going to do whatever it takes to win. You know, his role is obviously different than what he had with us. But, you know, there's one thing about it. There's not many kids in the nation that can come in cold and make big shots like him. And he's proven that. And, you know, he's going to make hustle plays. And he's just a tremendous player and just a tremendous kid.
And he had the best line of the entire Kentucky basketball season so far. When somebody asked him about, Tennessee, and he said, well, my mom gets her hair done in Knoxville,
Right.
which I thought was the best line of any UK player this year because it was so genuine, and people in the mountains got it because we're like, well, yeah, she probably does because that's how close you are.
Right.
That was my most favorite line because I got it and I thought it was hysterical.
Yeah, and you know, I know what beauty shop he's talking about. My wife's been there before herself, so you know, it is. I mean, growing up where we're from, you guys are from. I mean, it just means so much to play for Kentucky, and I'm just super proud of him. And you know, I think you're going to continue to see bigger and better things from him there.
Well, let me ask you this. You know, he's doing his thing. Travis Perry's doing his thing. Mark Pope there now is a little bit of a different coach, as we know. Do you think there's a little bit of pressure on Trent and Travis maybe, or not at all? Is if they have success, does that open up more opportunities for kids from Kentucky that we have not seen in recent years at UK, do you think?
I think so. I said that. I alluded to that when they signed Trent. You know, there for years, you know, a few years, it was few and far between a Kentucky kid went to Kentucky. You know, there's talent here. You know, you look at our region the last few years. I mean, just the year before Trent, we had the number 3 draft pick in the NBA draft. So I mean, there's a lot of talent in the mountains that goes unrecognized sometimes, even with social media. But you know, I definitely believe that opened the doors and eyes of people about how good Kentucky basketball is in high school.
That's fantastic. Now, you know, Coach, what do you, as you head in the district tournament, what do you need to see out of your team that you maybe haven't seen yet? Or do you really like where you're at just now as a whole? Do you really feel good heading into this district tournament?
Well, you know, we do a lot of preparation through film work and scouting and stuff like that. And, you know, we watch film today after church. And, you know, a lot of our kids that after they got out of church come up and watch film, the ones that could make it because of the flooding. But, you know, we're trying to focus a lot on that because once you get into paying attention to detail, because once you get in a tournament, the turnaround's a lot quicker. You know, you don't have as much time to prepare. And so we're just focusing on us and improving on some things that we can tweak. And we got to continue to guard like we have the last few games, and then just continue to put the ball in the basket. We got a couple of kids that can do that, and that makes coaching a lot easier.
That's a great point you bring up though with the quick turnaround, because right, the turnaround it's instantaneous. Literally, how much do you depend on your scout for that next game, or do you just go, we've seen these teams we kind of know, and is it your assistant who really is kind of like, how do you prepare for that next game, or just kind of go, boys, we've seen these guys before, let's roll the dice, or do you have an assistant that's scouting and kind of making things happen?
Well, we all take part in watching film. I generally take I got an assistant, a couple assistants that watches our games a lot. I watch our games, but not as much as I watch our opponents. And then they give me feedback on what we need to be working on with us, and then I usually do the scout for the opposing team. It works well. You got to break it up. You can't do it all yourself. That's why you got assistants. Those guys do a good job for us.
Yeah. How important is a good assistant to winning when you get into tournament time?
It's vital. I mean, you got to have those guys. You got to have those guys you can trust when, because when you're coaching, you don't always see everything. You're emotional sometimes. It's like being on a roller coaster, and you just got, even if it's just, hey coach, we not get a timeout here. Or, hey coach, maybe we need to try this. I'm open ears. And then if I don't like it, I always tell them I don't want to do it. So, and they respect that. So, but I really appreciate what our coaches do for our staff.
Go ahead, TJ.
No, I just what I'm going to say, coaches. If you don't, the game's be canceled tomorrow. Going a whole week without playing, do you fear maybe rust coming in on Monday when you will play Harlan?
100%. I've thought about that, worried about it. And we'll definitely, if we don't get a game this week, we'll have to try to get up and down more in practice than we usually do. As far as like, we don't, I don't know how other people do practices. We don't tend to scrimmage a lot. We do a lot of half court stuff and work on situations, and but probably have to do a little more of that this week if we can't play to to stay in game shape.
Yeah.
We talked about the region tournament, and obviously it's such a great 13th region tournament. What's the atmosphere like? Because once again, if you're in a region where there's one team who's probably going to dominate, maybe two teams, I don't know how much the crowd gets into it, because you're like, well, that team's going to win. When you're looking at the 13th region, it's that deep. What is the atmosphere like, and how does that atmosphere affect your kids? Because there is an atmosphere, and it will affect your kids, won't it?
Yeah, I grew up playing when the regional tournament was played in the gymnasiums, and I wished our kids could experience that kind of atmosphere. We players at the Corbin Arena, those guys do a good job hosting it, but it's the atmosphere. It's a regional tournament. It's going to be wild. Don't matter who you play in our region. I was looking at it. Whoever comes out of our district, whoever it is out of the four teams. There's not going to be easy draw, win or lose. So, I mean, first round, you got to be on your toes and ready to go.
That's what CJ and I said. We're talking about, it's like, hey, you won the 49th, great job, but here's the second place team out of the 50th or whatever. And it's like, is that a reward? I don't really know if that's a reward or not.
Well, I was thinking the other day, whoever comes out of our district, is possibly going to have a chance to play a Corbin, a South, a Clay, a North, Knox Central, a Pineville. There's no easy draw in our region.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But all 8 teams scare me, but Pineville scares me more than anybody, because they're the type of team that can just wear you down with their 3-point game and their defense. They don't worry about if they're going to get that rebound or not. They're just going to worry about playing defense and shooting threes. And Pineville is about as good as anybody at that in this region. And then Brad's team has been coming on really strong the last month. I know he's had a lot on his mind. The baby being born, and now the baby's in the hospital. Hopefully, it'll get to come home. And again, I want everybody to continue praying for Coach and everybody. But they've been red hot the past month. They've been playing some great basketball.
Yeah, Bell County's got a really good team. And the way they play, they kind of dictate tempo, and you have it's really hard to get up and down. They're real similar to playing a South Laurel. The way they play, the style, they really make you defend half court, and then alluding to Pineville, Pineville's got 3 kids that can, they've got 3 or 4 really talented kids that can score 20 plus on a given night. They're a very dangerous team. They're capable of scoring 80, 90 points a game. I think Pineville gets overlooked at times, but they've got some talented kids on that team for it to be a small school.
Yeah.
What's funny to me, Coach, is I left WYMT in like 2011. So that's 14 years ago. It's like a lifetime ago. But when I left for my duration there, 06 to 11, 13th was always loaded every year. And I feel like it's the same teams coming back again. And there was even Pineville was really good when James David Strange was there. And I'm like, am I in a time warp? Has it changed? But the thing that I always loved about the 13th was the style of play was so different. Like South Laurel had the players, right? They had the skilled players. They would kind of play like a good game. Pineville would beat you with some threes. And then Bell County would just beat the living snot out of you. They played football on the basketball court. So I always thought the 13th was fun because I couldn't tell what was going to happen one game to the next because the styles are so different. The 13th now, are the styles similar to each other? Are you all very different teams?
Well, any team that we'll face in the district and region, they're going to play. The styles are different. They are, and there's certain teams that play more of a slow tempo in our region, and those teams are really hard to beat in the tournament because I've always said, scores go down in the district and region. You hardly ever see a 90 point game in the district.
Yep.
So. Those types of teams are really dangerous and scary in the district and region. So, you just got to be ready. You got to be prepared and take it one game at a time. And that's why I said we're going to take Harlan. We're not going to take the first round of the district for granted. We're going to prepare and be ready to go in that game.
Yeah, you got to get to the region. We're talking about region. You still got to get there.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'll never forget. There was one year. Dudley Hilton's son, who's on blanking on his name, J.D. Hilton. Dudley Hilton, his son J.D. was on the basketball team. And I said, J.D., what do you know about basketball? What do you bring to the floor? And he says, Jeff, I bring 5,000. I plan to use them every single night. And he did. He would just beat the snot out of somebody, then pick up a foul. And he would kind of turn to me and kind of go, right. Like he didn't care because he wanted the other team's power forward, their center, to feel. He wasn't a big kid. He was like 5'11". He was like Charles Barkley, short and stout. But he would like beat the snot, and the other team would be worn down by the end. His stat line would be like 2 points, 8 rebounds, 5 fouls.
Right.
But there was a value in that. So that's why I always think of the 13th, and it makes me laugh.
Yeah, and I think this, your better teams in the region this year, a lot of times you define roles with your players throughout the season. And right now is when you're getting into where kids are really learning what their roles on a team, whether that's you've got a kid like we got, Maddox Huff, he's averaging almost 30 points a game. And then you've got a kid on our team that's averaging their value important as somebody.
Your team, this is the best coaching job I've ever seen. Especially after you got the state finals last year, you had a chance to, you bring this team back, and a lot of people didn't know what to expect. And I tell you what, with what happened to Reggie during the summer, him to come back from that, and from where you guys have been, you made the 2A final. Listen, this is some of the best coaching I've seen, Coach. Hats off to you. Tremendous job of you and your kids, and to stay in this situation. A lot of teams usually slide down a hill after they lose a superstar like Trent Noah. But these guys have just fit in. You even got your younger guys starting to play really well, and that has to be good for the future because you're depending on a lot of freshmen, sophomore right now, and they have been there for you.
Yeah, it's we went through some bumps. We knew it was going to be different this year, but that's all the credit to our kids. I appreciate the compliment, but your kids, they've bought into what we're preaching every day in practice, and they come in and work hard, and we're just taking it one day at a time, and just thankful that we've got healthy, and and we're just really excited for the postseason, and and hopefully we can knock a little rust off this week. I'm so nervous about not getting to play this week, but hopefully everything works out okay for us.
Coach, before we let you go,
you're not the only coach around that's nervous, because there's a lot of coaches needing games, and I think you may see a game or two this week pop up that didn't expect to pop up, because they're going to say, well, just forget about it. We need to play. So yeah, we'll play you.
Yeah, and if anybody's out there listening, we need a game, so we'll come to you. We don't care. We'll come to you this week.
Coach, before we let you go, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, when you get in the tournament, district, region, you know each other, that coach at Clay County pretty well.
What happens
if you match up with him in the tournament? Is that awkward? Is that fun? What is that like when you face off against him? Is that weird, especially when it's an elimination game?
Yeah, it is. It's tough, growing up with him. He's my brother, and it's harder on my mother than anybody. But hopefully we don't have, if we're both of us is fortunate enough to make it to the region, hopefully we don't have to play each other maybe to the finals. I wouldn't want to play them the first round. That's tough for both of us. But they've got a really good team. I feel like we've got a good team. But it could possibly very well happen if both of us make it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to speak to him next. So I think we're going to see a repeat and wash of what we just saw with you, Coach, because he's learned. You learned so much from your brother. You learned so much from. We always say, in true life, he really is your brother. But we always say we learn from our coaching brothering, but in the true life, he's really your brother. And you lean on him a lot. And I can see him down here at the bottom of the screen. He's smiling, so he's actually watching us. But, he's smiling. He's crazy. He's smiled away down there. Yeah. But
if he's listening, he ain't gonna take the credit. He'll say the same thing. We learned all this from our dad. So
oh God, yes. Listen, your dad is legendary, and you just I agree 100%.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us, guys.
Kyle, thank you so much for being with us. Good luck to you guys. We're gonna be watching, keep an eye on you, and if you happen to get to Rupp Arena, we'll bring you back and we'll talk about that and how that 13th region tournament was, and whatever. But good luck to you, Coach. I hope you find a game. That's what I would.
Hey, put the word out for us. We need a game this week.
I will pass the word. I will put it on my Facebook. Harlan County needs a game. Doesn't matter if it's home or away. Please contact Coach Jones or Eugene Farmer at Harlan County High School.
100%.
Coach,
thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Coach Kyle Jones of the Harlan County Blackbears. Now we get the other half of the brother team. The Clay County head men's basketball coach, Mr. Michael Jones. Coach, it's great to have you with us. I was watching you down there a minute ago. You were smiling and laughing. Listen, you two, it's fine. It's hard to find a pair of brothers that coach in the same region, love each other, and love the game. And you guys, listen, these 2 seasons you've been there in Manchester, you've turned Clay County basketball back to the forefront. And everybody's paying attention again.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate y'all having my brother and I on. He's 100% right. We have learned everything we do from our dad, and we continue to learn from him. And we both lean on him a lot. I know I do, and I'm sure Kyle does too. And any advice that he gives us along the way, we sure take it. And it's been a step-by-step process here, trying to rebuild and get things going the right way, the way Clay County basketball is used to being, and them trying to learn our culture. But we're heading in the right direction, we feel like.
Coach, you want to loan your brother a game? I see you have 4 of them. He might want to borrow one of those.
Yeah, I got 4, but I don't know if we'll play one, to be honest.
Oh, yeah,
I'm worried
exactly right. Yeah,
I'm worried about it because it just like everywhere else, it's really bad over here, and we've got some kids that are trapped in right now, and we just hope that the water recedes tonight, and we can be able to get some of those games in next week.
Yeah,
Coach, you mentioned getting on the right track. I believe I saw you're 12-3 in your last 15 games. I mean, do you like where you are right now heading towards the district, or do you feel like you still have a lot more improvement, or are you pretty pleased with what you guys are doing right now?
Well, I think any coach would say you've still got improvement to do, and we do too. There's things that we're not doing well in games that we're working on in practice and trying to improve on. But we're just taking it one day and one game at a time. We had a lapse there last week where we didn't play very well and slipped up and lost at home to Knox Central, and then didn't play very well at Barville. But credit to those two teams. But we got back on track with a big district win at Jackson County, and hopefully we can ride that momentum into the next few weeks.
You played you made your way through Knox County there the other day, Coach, and you lost to Knox Central. But I think they're one of those 8 teams that we talked about is legitimately a contender to win the 13th. Barville has been improving though; they've gotten better all year. They start off a little slow. They've really come on strong in the past month. Coach, you have 4 seniors. They all 4 start for you. They've all been very reliable for this program. But the bulk of your strength and talent is in the lower grades. You have a lot of lower 7th, 8th freshmen that you're really excited about, sophomores. Talk about your seniors, but then talk about your lower classmen because they're the foundation that's going to set Clay County basketball in the future.
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously excited about this senior group. We've just had them a couple of years and real appreciative of them buying into our culture and setting an example for these younger kids. But we've got a sophomore in Grubb that we are really excited about, where we think he's one of the better sophomores in the state. And then you got Aiden Wagers, Baby Bear, who'll be back next year. And Rick got a really good sophomore class. We've talented that look forward to that class getting older. It's a really good group. Got great talent at each position. Then we've got a couple 7th graders that we've moved up and 2 8th graders that we're really excited about. So, the cupboard's not too bare over here. We're just trying to push forward and hopefully the future can be as exciting as the present is now.
Coach, when we start, I'm going to jump ahead. I'm going to do things that coaches hate. I'm going to jump ahead past your district and look at the 13th region. Because when we look at 13th region, we were talking this with your brother and TJ and I before even your brother jumped on. There's 8 teams that I could say legitimately have a shot to win a region, which is just absurd. Does that region, when you start to look at it and think about it, does it keep you up at night? Does it make you a little bit worried? Because there's nowhere to hide in that region, right?
Well, obviously you want to get through and win your district. Everybody wants to go in as a winner, but it doesn't matter if you go in a winner or a loser this year because there's no easy draw, no matter who you get. So, legitimately, you're correct. All 8 teams that make it is going to have a chance to win it, and you just hope that you're playing your best, those 3 nights.
Looking at your district now, what do you need to do to be successful in your district tournament to come out on top there?
Well, we don't know yet until Tuesday who we play. So we'll either play Jackson County or Oneida, and they're both capable of putting a scare into somebody. So we can't look past that game. And then obviously you get to, if everything works out right, you're going to play North Laurel, who we've beat at home, and they beat us, at 3rd place, and they're extremely talented. And it'll take a very good effort from our kids on both ends of the floor to be able to compete with them for the district championship.
Where's the tournament at?
It's at Jackson County.
Ooh, that's big. That's big because Jackson County, it's a neutral floor, so that's balanced for both the. I noticed you got 2 district games left. I know probably part of the reason why you have 2 district games because of weather has been the major problem. Has there been any discussion? I know I meant to ask some other coaches this. Is there any discussion about maybe in the future of these seed district games, at least maybe 2 or 3, or maybe at least 2, being played before Christmas, so that we don't have this conflict here? Because weather, you're going to run into weather probably more in January, end of December, January, February than you are December. And among all you coaches in the different regions and things, have there been a discussion about maybe playing a couple of district games early so that you're halfway through your district, and then if there happens to be a weather event or event, something that you can't have no control over, that you don't have to worry about playing a district game on the last game of the regular season?
To my knowledge, there's not been any discussion of it. It's not a bad idea. You try to typically play one at least one, maybe two before Christmas, but we were in the WYMT this year, so it kind of took that out of it. And then you get into the All A Classic. You've got some schools that you play against that are in All A, so you have to work around their schedule. And now you throw in the 2A, so it makes scheduling a little complicated. But we should probably at least try to get one or two of those in before Christmas.
I know that's something maybe the other regions and coaches and ADs may want to talk about. We're going to designate 2 days in December or 4 days in December to play a couple of district games, and you've got a couple in your back pocket. Then you don't have to worry to scramble to get them in, because I know that I know over here in the 14th, they want all districts done by February 5th. Now that is impossible this year because majority of the games we didn't play for 2 weeks. So,
Right.
I mean, but you're putting the deadline, and when you've got a deadline on you, you can't meet the deadline because you have to play those games later. You have no choice. Dates, you're only allowed so many dates. And I wish the KHSAA2 would put no. I'm not saying you do need a restriction of games, but I think if there's weather, I think they ought to let you be able to add. Don't cap you at the 30 that you're supposed to have. If there's circumstances you can't be under control, don't let them have a special exemption. Like I've heard that maybe the schools are going to get maybe 5 extra NIT days because of the weather. I know they're trying to get that pushed through to help the schools so they won't be there so far in June. Well, they need to do something for basketball because I think it would help.
Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and it's not a bad idea at all. But once you start adding more games than that, then you get into district tournament dates, regional tournament dates, and then the state tournament date that you have to coincide with when you can have it at Kentucky, at UK. So, pushing the dates back farther and allowing us more games just gets you into more situations to where, you may not be able to play it at Rupp Arena. So it affects a lot of things.
Well, you're going to be a week later this year.
Yeah.
People don't know that. The girls are going to play. Then the NCAA men's regional tournament is going to be played Rupp Arena. And the next week, the boys are going to play. So the boys are actually going to have 2 weeks to prepare. So it's not going to be a rush. It's going to be take your time. Whoever wins your region, get all your things prepared, all your activities prepared, and what you're going to do, and everything already. But you have plenty of time to do it because you don't have to rush. So, yeah. But now the girls, they don't have that luxury. They've got to, after Saturday night,
Right.
They got,
I'm sure most coaches feel the exact same way I do. It wouldn't matter to me if it was 2 days or 2 weeks. If we make it, then that's the important thing, is getting there and having an opportunity. So, you're right. You got two extra weeks to prepare. But if you won the region on Monday and had to play on Tuesday, I'd be satisfied with that.
Yeah, I've seen that happen before. One year they had to push state tournament back because of a big blizzard that come through here. I can't remember what year it was, but we got like 8 or 10 inches of snow. They couldn't get the regional tournament in, and they had to end up moving the state tournament back a week because of that blizzard. It was awful. They about never got it in. Finally, they did get it in, but that's when the girls were still playing in Bowling Green. So
It goes back a lot of years then. Yeah.
Very much, yeah.
You're obviously doing a fantastic job there. I think I saw you're 18-6, doing great things at Clay County. When you coach at Clay County, and there's a certain expectation because of what was created through the 80s and 70s and 80s, 90s and on up. Is there a lot of pressure when you coach at Clay County? And is pressure? I've always heard that pressure is privilege, right? There's only pressure if you're doing something that matters. Is there pressure coaching at Clay County, and is that a privilege?
It's both pressure and a privilege. Obviously they had that great run in the 80s and the 90s, and people talk about over here where they got their state tournament tickets way before the season started because they just knew they were going year in and year out. So that expectation is definitely set over here. And then we opened up our Legends Hall this year, and and I can remember walking out, my daughter saying, "Do you realize how much pressure it is coaching here?" And I knew that coming in, but it's something that I relish, and I look forward to that challenge each and every day that I go in there. I wanted this opportunity to be able to turn Clay County around and put it going in the right direction. Then, my wife graduated at Clay County. My dad graduated at Clay County. So it's a great opportunity and a humbling experience to be the head coach here.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I'll never forget the line someone told me. They said, when Bobby Keith was coaching at Clay County, when you go to most basketball schools or when you go to most schools, when you're the road team, you're giving up 3 points, okay, in theory. When you went to Clay County, you're giving up 10, because you weren't getting a call. Bobby Keith was getting them all, and that crowd was on the side. So they said, going to Clay County, you were down 10-0 stepping off the bus. So
10 may be, you may be not, it may not be enough. You may not be giving enough.
Yeah,
I've been down 20 before you got here.
So the funniest thing was, Bobby Keith's daughter, I believe, coached the girls team, and I was with them. And they went to the state tournament one year, and I went to cover them. It was when it was in Bowling Green. And so I ran into someone like, hey, we're having a party before the state tournament games. Come on up to the hotel room. There's going to be a bunch of. So I go up there, and I walk in, and I'll be thinking, Bobby Keith is sitting there. And Bobby Keith is like, hey, Jeff, you want me to make you a bologna sandwich? And I'm like, okay. Because you can't say no to Bobby Keith. He's right. And he pulls out a loaf of bread, and he's like, got your loaf of bread here. Put some bologna on it. You want some mustard? Yeah, I want some. So I can say I got a bologna sandwich made by Bobby Keith in a hotel room at the girls' state tournament. That is one of my biggest claims to fame.
There you go.
So, yeah, I've always loved Clay County for that history because I've always been a history person. It really is kind of amazing. What do you have to do, though, now that you've got to go in the right direction? How do you sustain and how do you keep it going in the right direction?
Well, the biggest thing getting over here was just implementing our culture and trying to change the culture, and that takes time. And a lot of last year, even though, we had a pretty successful season, them coming off, they come off a couple of seasons where they didn't win very many games at all, and they had a losing record. And but the biggest part is it was teaching kids our culture for an entire year, seems like, getting them to buy into what we needed them to do, on and off the court and in the classroom. And this year it's been more of we've been able to teach basketball and teach fundamentals because they're accustomed to what we want as coaching staff and what we expect of them. So, hopefully that'll just carry on. We brought that down into the middle school and got them doing the things that we're doing, and we'll eventually get that down in the grade school. So it's just been a process, but, it's coming along pretty well.
You say that, and I always laugh because whenever I've talked to any coach who's new, taking over any program, it doesn't matter if it's basketball, football, baseball, soccer, whatever it may be, I always talk about what's the first thing you have to do. And there's two things I always tell me. Number one, you have to create the culture. And number two, you have to recruit your own hallways. Because when you start losing, kids don't want to be associated with that. Why would you want to put in time to fail, right? So you have to recruit your own hallways and convince the kids. And that's what I've always been told. Did you have to recruit the hallways in Clay County, or were the kids always kind of wanting to be, or did you find yourself having to convince some of the kids to say, yeah, I want to play for you guys again?
Well, I didn't necessarily have to recruit the hallways. There was kids that come out that didn't play, for the previous coaching staff for whatever reason, and they had their culture. It was just trying to change, them believing in the system that we wanted to do and we wanted to run. Whether it be, offense, defense, or just instilling toughness in this group. But we had to teach this group how to win again. They had lost, this senior class had lost so much. They had to learn how to win games and enjoy that process of winning games. So it was sometimes it's still a long process. Sometimes it was difficult. It was some difficult nights, coming home and wondering if we were ever going to get to that point. But, we had a fairly good season last year and lost in the semifinals, and hopefully we can make a little bit longer run this year.
I think it's amazing. You talk about teaching the kids to win. And it doesn't matter. The one thing that's always fascinated me in life, especially in high school, but it doesn't matter what level you are, there's something about a belief in winning that translates. We talk about the NFL, right? We're like, oh, well, they got this quarterback, so now the team believes they can win. These guys are making $30 to $30 million a year, and you're trying to convince them that they can win. Yep. That's absurd to me. But in high school, it really seems to be teach these kids, convince them to win. Can you see it click in a kid or kids that, oh my gosh, we can win, and when that clicks, do you see a change?
You do. These kids, these seniors come off back-to-back losing years. And the first day I walked in and spoke to them, I talked about Rupp Arena and the expectations of going to Rupp Arena. And I didn't sugarcoat it. We talk about it every single day at practice about that being our goal. And seeing those kids believing in that and going through the process and getting to the district tournament last year and winning that for the first time in a while at Clay County. It'd been a while since they'd won even a district championship, which is absurd to say when they've won 78 of them before that. So seeing the belief and believing that we could actually, make a run at the regional title and have a chance this year to make a run at it, that it's been fulfilling to see that change in them.
Winning games is really cool. It's really fun. It's what you're paid to do. But when you see your kids go on beyond high school and you start to see them being successful in college and beyond college, and they start to be like really cool people and really cool adults and good parts of the community, how does that make you feel as a coach when you see that? And how much credit do you start to take for some of these kids that they do become great people?
Well, that's the whole thing about coaching. You want these kids to understand that teaching the game of basketball is the easy part. We want them to succeed in life, and they can learn from our examples and our mistakes that we make as human beings, and we try to teach them the right way and the wrong way to approach situations, and just to see them grow up. There you got Trent Noah. I was a part of his journey, and Maddox Huff, those kids at Harlan County, and then these kids at Clay County. When you see them be able to go on in the future and become, hopefully, the human beings that we try to help them be, a part in their process. That's the main part about coaching in my eyes.
Yeah, no doubt. Coach, I'm gonna really go crazy. We skipped the district, talk about the region. Now I'm going to skip ahead to talk about state tournament. I just want to ask you, the draw came out. It's 13th versus 14th. It's two mountain schools facing off. Do you like in the first round, or would you rather not have to face a mountain school in the first round? I'm kind of curious what a coach feels about that.
I'll give you my honest statement. My assistant coach was sitting beside me when we were watching it, and he said before the peels come out, he said, would you rather play on Wednesday or Thursday, and what region would you rather play? And my response was, I don't care if we play Wednesday or Thursday or if we play the Boston Celtics. I just want to have an opportunity to be there and play. So it don't matter. It is what it is, who you draw and who you play. You can't control that circumstance. You just get down. When you get down there, if you're fortunate enough to do, then you just take it one day at a time.
No, I fully agree. But I'll tell you personally, as me, someone who covered the regions for long enough and someone who still keeps my eye on it, I actually like when the 13th or 14th or 15th when they play, because it guarantees us a mountain team in the next round. Right. And I want to get that exposure for the rest of state. People tell me, well, no, you should want them to play and all three to advance. And I'm like, do you know how hard it is for any one to advance when you get down there? I like having a guarantee to get the next day. That's just me. Because
I agree.
You understand. I mean, you're right. You could be playing the LA Lakers and you're trying to draw up how you're going to match up with LeBron. It doesn't matter. You're excited to be there. But boy, it feels like it means a lot. You're a 13th region coach. It'd be awesome if you guys beat the 14th in your mind, for you, obviously, to move on. But I got to believe you're also pulling for the 15th, right? I got to think all the mountains are pulling for each other, because there's a kindred spirit that you guys all have. Like, you're going to pull for those mountain teams, don't you?
Absolutely. You want the 13th, 14th, even the 12th. And the 15th to do well when you get down there and go as far as they possibly can go. So, I agree with the 13th to 14th. You've already got somebody that's in the quarterfinals. That makes it a great matchup. We made it in 2017 at Harlan County. The 14th won the first round, and if we'd have won ours, we would have played, and that would have guaranteed somebody in the semifinals. So that process, you always pull for those teams, and hopefully, whoever makes it down there from the 13th and 14th and 12th and 15th will represent the Eastern Kentucky and the mountains well. You
mentioned Trent Noah, so I'm going to go that direction. When you were watching that game against, and we asked your brothers, when you're watching that game against Tennessee and he's doing those things, what was it like for you to watch him and to see him do that? I mean, are you at home going crazy? What were you like watching that game and seeing him play?
Well, you just know that he's capable of doing that on any given night, given the opportunity, and he's the most humble kid that I've ever been around and coached. not just because he's a family member. He's just an extremely humble individual. He works his butt off. He always has. He always will. So everything that he gets is well deserved, and I'm super proud of him.
When you see a kid from the mountains start to do this and start to get some attention, obviously Reed Shepherd clearly before was extremely successful. Now we're starting to stack successes out of the mountains. Do you think that's going to open up more recruiting opportunities for mountain kids?
Oh, 100%. It's going to make college coaches, take notice of kids in the mountains. There's always been talent here, and there always will be. And in my eyes, I feel like Harlan County's got the best player in the state, and Maddox Huff, and I truly believe that. And then you've got kids, at South Laurel and North Laurel, and I mean all over this region and 14th region that is just super talented. And having somebody like Reed have the success he had, help Trent get the success he's having, so it helps Maddox, and it's just going to continue on down the pipeline. And it's going to help not only the college coaches see it, it's going to encourage young kids to work harder in the gym and see that they can be successful if somebody like Trent and Reed can do what they've done.
Let me ask you this, and it's just occurred to me. Part of the reason I think previously, going back decades, one of the reasons, there's a couple reasons we didn't quite see as many people successful out of the mountains on the level they should have been.
I also want to point out,
there's always been talent here. I think that one of the reasons is because the game was a lot of inside out, a lot of post presence, and the mountains doesn't put out a lot of 7-footers and things like that. Now the game is more open 3-point shooting, and we all know, let's be honest, kids from the mountains can shoot. They're out there every day shooting it up. Do you think the change in the game, how it's kind of shifted, has opened it up more for more mountain kids?
Oh, no doubt. Being able to shoot the ball the way the mountain kids always have been able to and the change that Steph Curry has probably been had his most fingerprint on all this, the way he's played the game in the NBA level and impress kids and have them work on this 3-point shooting is opened their eyes and their level of, if I can do that, shoot that well, and it could lead me to a college scholarship. But there's been guards in the past that I played with one of the best that's ever played in the mountains, in Charles Thomas, and went to the Final Four with Minnesota. So it's not like that, we're just now getting there. It's just, I think it's more noticeable now with the run that Trent and Reed Shepherd's done.
Yeah, no doubt. Coach, let me ask you, I got a couple more questions for you about your brother, because I just think it's fun. If you guys have to face off in the region, how difficult is that on you? Your brother said it's most difficult on your mom, but how difficult is that to face your brother? Like, what is that like to have to face your brother? It's one thing to face, because you guys face each other in the regular season, but if you lose, you go home and you draw up the next place the next day. If you lose in the region, you go home. What is that like to face your brother in a region game if you have to?
Well, we did last year in the semifinals, and he's 100% right. My mom takes it the hardest. Our mom is, it bothers her the most. But when I went into that 13th region game in the semifinals last year, my thought process was, obviously we wanted to win, and we prepared to win. But just like your thought process in the 13th versus 14th, one of us was going to be in the regional finals with a chance to make it to the state tournament. And, I'm happy for him. Any success, he's done a phenomenal job at Harlan County. And always going to be happy for his success. And we played again this year in the semifinals of WYMT, and they got us again. So, hopefully, like he said previously, that if we have to meet, it would be in the regional finals. That would be great, because obviously one of us would be going. But it's you try to put that out of your mind when you get there, that you're not competing against your brother, and you just want to be another game. But it's hard. It's not an easy process.
My last question, Coach. Who's the better looking brother, you or your brother?
Ask my mom that one. I don't know.
Fair enough. If you guys need the final, CJ needs to get your mom on this. That's
right.
We can that could be, maybe we can get that arranged. You never know on this show.
I told she got up and left the game last year in the regional semifinals several times. So
oh my gosh, I don't know how she could even stand it. Yeah. So
Coach, I've done about 2 or 3 more things. I'll let you go. Remodeling has been the main thing I've seen at Clay County. A lot going on. You talked about your champions thing in the gymnasium. You've had a lot of work in there. Brand new softball, baseball fields that are finally going to get their first action this year. Understand Clay County football is under a lot of new administrative stuff going on there still. I think a new field house, concession stand, stuff like that. I think they're still in the process of maybe building a vocational school, I think is what I've heard too. Yeah. Talk about all this going on down there and keeping your eye on the prize. Because you got all these workers around and they're noisy and you guys are trying to concentrate on school and athletics. But it's going to be when it's all completed, it's going to be what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to our administration. They've done a phenomenal job of, putting this process together, and the football field was already completed when I got over here, and it's a beautiful facility, and they're working on their field house and their weight room over there, and our baseball and softball fields are just beautiful. And like you said, they're doing a vocational school in the back of the school, and our gym just got remodeled, and our gym floor. But it's been difficult. I'm not gonna lie. When I first got here, we didn't get in the gym until the day we played our first game on December the 1st. We shot in our gym the day of 7th period during class before we opened up against Harlan. We had no practices in there or anything, and it caused our kids to have a lot of 5 a.m. practices, which they didn't enjoy too much. But it wasn't all the time because I was making them get up at 5 o'clock. It was because it was a necessity. That's the only time we could have practice because we were sharing the middle school with so many different other athletic programs. Yeah. And then we come into this season and our gym floor, water gets on it and they have to cut pieces of it and redo it. So again, we go back to that process of 5 a.m. practices and sharing the middle school. So it's been a long process, but it's definitely going to be rewarding. We've got a beautiful facility, our Legends Hall. If y'all have not seen it yet, you need to come over and check it out. It's a sight to see. They put a lot of work in it, and they just keep adding to it weekly, and we're very proud of that.
I know. I've been keeping up with all your construction and everything. I just wonder how things. I think if I'm still correct, that the boys and girls softball regional tournaments are going to be in Clay County this year, right?
I think we've already.
I know baseball is.
We've already gave that up. If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on it, but I believe that there's been a problem with our baseball and softball field, and we may not get to play on it this year. Don't quote me on that, but we'll see.
So still may have to play at the park and everything for another year.
Which is underwater right now completely.
Yeah, listen, that's not the only thing underwater. Some of these pictures that's been coming through in the past day or two has been really, really sad and really, really hard. And it just brings you back to the flood from 2 years ago. And here we go again. And we got to catch a break eventually, but hopefully it'll all work out in the end. If you want to follow the Tigers, they're scheduled to play Corbin tomorrow night. Are you going to stay? Are you still going to play that game?
We will know by 10 o'clock in the morning if we get to go play that or not. So
check the Facebook pages of both schools. They'll be able to let you know. They do have 2 district games, Redbird Tuesday and OBI on Wednesday. They go to OBI Wednesday, Redbird at home on Tuesday. Coach, absolute honor to have you as always. It's always good when we get you and Kyle back to back. It's just brotherly love, and I love it all, and it's a great thing. I can't wait for this 13th regional tournament. It's what everybody's been talking about, and it's going to be one of those special tournaments where every game means something. In the past, I mean, it's always meant something, but it means more now. But when you got 8 teams that's been vying for the prize, it even means more.
Yes, sir. You're absolutely correct.
Coach, great to see you. We will talk to you very soon.
Listen, I appreciate y'all having me on. Thank you.
No problem. Coach Michael Jones of the Clay County Tigers. Now we're going to join us with Knox Central ladies basketball coach Steve Warren. Coach, great to have you with us.
Thanks, CJ. Thanks for having me.
Tickled death to have you. First of all, are you okay? How are the roads? How are our people able how's everything in Knox County? I know it's a very dangerous time over there. I saw some pictures last night. There was a couple that about tore my heartstrings out. One where a store got flooded and the poor old guy was trying to sweep the water back out the door. Then there was another one where almost the middle of town was flooded. There's been others, but you guys, if you don't know Knox County, they have this problem a lot. And it'll take a lot of rain to get them flooded. So how is everybody and how's it going?
Yeah, we've took a lot of water, just like everybody else here in the southeastern eastern part of the state. This water's still rising here. We're still getting a lot of this water from Bell and Harlan County. So we have quite a few residents without electricity. The flood waters, it is wreaking havoc out here with our roads. We got a lot of roads washed out. Trees down with the wind gusts this morning, so that's got the power outages, so that's something we're still fighting here.
Coach, let's talk some basketball. And right now,
okay,
gosh, you guys seem to be on a roll. You've won 11 straight, if I have that correct. Do you like where your team is right now as you get ready to head in the district, or are you sitting there thinking maybe it's a little bit of fool's gold? How do you feel about your team as you head into district play?
Wait a minute, Jeff. He's got the best player in the state of Kentucky.
Well, that must make you feel really good when you got the best player. That makes you a really smart coach, doesn't it?
Haley Collins deserves to be Miss Basketball. Now, I don't, if ands or buts. This girl is a walking double-double. I mean, she's probably triple doubling if we pay attention to her stats. And I know she has to be, and Coach can give us more. She has to be close to 2,000 points there because she has been. I mean, she's unbelievable.
Yeah, she is. She's well over 3,000 points for her career. I think she's about 100, 150, 160 rebounds shy of the all-time state record of rebounds. I think she's about number 4 or 5. I think she's about 27, 28 shy of Sarah Elliott, who played at Jackson County several years. Game. Okay, yeah. I think she's got over 100 double-doubles for her career. So she's a double-double just about every night, and she's huge for us. But talking about our team, I feel really good where we're at right now. I feel like we're playing some of our best basketball of the season. We've been on a little bit of a run here of late. I think we have won 10, 11 in a row. So I really like where we're at. If we can carry this over into the postseason right here, we're really sharing the ball. Our defense has kind of stepped up a little bit. We've kind of struggled with communication issues there earlier on in the year, but I really feel like as far as the team, we're really coming together and kind of playing for one another, more so than ever right now. So I really like where we're at.
You open up district tournament play with Lynn Camp. It's a game. I mean, in theory, you should win, but we all know theories mean nothing if you lose a game in the district tournament in the first round because you're done. What do you have to do to be successful in that district to get into the region?
That's what we talk about with our girls. When postseason hits, you've got to win this first one, or there's not another one. So this Lynn Camp game, it's a in-county rivalry deal here, and it's one we have to take serious. To be able to move on to where we want to be. So we'll be totally focused on them. Come next Monday. We got to get by that one to secure a spot in the region. So it's kind of this time of year. It's one game at a time. So we got to take every game. That's our most important games. Our next game.
You mentioned the region, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I like doing that. I know coaches hate it, but I get the honor of doing it because I can. And I look at that region: South, North, Corbin. You guys, it's a top-heavy region. There's a lot of talent in that region. Just give me your assessment of the region, and presuming you guys make the region tournament, what do you have to do to be successful? Because, like I said, top heavy, a lot of good teams up there.
Yeah, I feel like we're playing in one of the toughest regions in this part of the state. Year in and year out, you have North and South. It's always always tough. You know, you got Corbin, Bell, Whitley this year sitting there, you know, are really, really good teams. Kind of like we talked about earlier, you know, you've got to come every night ready to go or somebody's going to send you to the house because, you know, South's probably playing their best, maybe the best basketball in the region right now. You know, I mean, they're playing as well as anybody. North has played well all year long. Corbin, we faced them a couple times and split with them. So, yeah, I mean, tough region, going to be a fun region, you know, but you either come to play or you could go home early.
Couple teams you didn't mention, but you know they're in the back of your mind. Bell County, Jackson County, both of them are scary. So very capable of beating you on any one. All it takes is one night and you can be out. You know, the girls is like the boys.
And, Coach Scott.
You know, the boys is like the girls. There's probably 6, 17 on the girls' side that can win the 13th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Whoever, you know, you spoke about Bell and Jackson. You got Coach Teague and Coach Tyra, who've been around a while and do a great job. And it seems around tournament time, you know, they're always ready to go, and they're always a tough out as well. So the boys in the girls region, I think they're both, you know, kind of wide open. You know, it's whoever gets hot, and it's whoever can put three together. You know, if you make it to that point.
Coach, the draw's already come out for the state tournament. And I know now I'm really skipping ahead and I'm going beyond the region to the state tournament. Do you like that draw against the 16th region? Is that one that you're like, okay, that's cool, that's a matchup we're okay with? Or do you go, oh my gosh, what are they doing to us?
Yeah, you know, it's another one of those mountain regions right there. I think you have Ashland Blazer over there, Russell. You know, I think maybe Boyd County's in that region as well. And, you know, Ashland's, you know, perennial tough out every year, you know, and I think they're one of the favorites over there, well coached. You know, got a point guard there, one of the better point guards they've got back healthy in the state. So, you know, I don't know if there is a good draw. You know, you don't want to Sacred Heart or anything their first game if you can help it. But, you know, anybody you grab a hold of right there first is there for a reason. And
no, Coach, the 15th region gets the Billings to play in the 7th this year, so they will get to play Sacred Heart. So yeah,
yeah, that's that. Now that's a tough draw. That's a tough draw right there. I mean, they're tough out. You know, they lost for the first time, and I don't know what was it, 72 games the other night, the first in-state loss, and so many games, maybe more than that. Simon Kenton got them, you know, so they're tough out every night. So that's a tough draw for the 15th.
And the funny thing about it is Simon Kenton's in the 6th region, Sacred Heart in the 7th. So if they was to win their first round games, they would end up playing each other. And I know Sacred Heart probably wanted no part of another game with Simon Kenton.
No, I'd say they didn't want to see that quick. You know, they maybe wanted that later on in the tournament, but that would be a tough matchup in the second round for sure.
Coach, you've got this fantastic player, which always makes the coach look smart when you got someone with a lot of ability. You know,
yes.
Tell us about this player. What is her plans after high school? What is she looking to do? Where is she going? What's going on with her?
Yeah. You know, to talk about Hallie, you know, she's been with us for 4 years right here, and you know, done everything. Like you say, she can make you look smart, I guess you'd say, or make you look like you're, you know, maybe something more than what you are. But she does a lot of the dirty work. She scores the ball, but if you watch any film on her, or if you come to watch her, she gets a lot of her own. You know, it's not like we run every set through her. You know, with talking about almost 2,000 rebounds in the career. You know, so she goes and gets her own. But she is going to go on and play at the University of Pikeville. She is committed to the Pikeville there. So she's looking forward to that, and you know, we're looking forward to her going over there and you know, putting in a good 4 years over there.
I'm excited.
But we feel like she is one of the best players. Yes, most definitely.
When you've got a player like her, and obviously she helps elevate the program. Do you think that she is one of those people that the younger girls in your area are like, boy, I think I kind of want to do what she does? Do you think that helps your program down the road after she's gone? Do you think young girls want to come up and play basketball because she did and she made it look cool?
Yeah, I think most definitely. The younger, you're talking about middle school, maybe elementary kids. They look up to her. They want to try to emulate her. And even her teammates and her younger teammates. It's kind of, she's setting the bar right here, and they feel like they're, she's pulling the wagon, and they're wanting to push. So I think she brings everybody up to a different level right here. They enjoy playing with her. She's very unselfish. And, I think for our program right here where we're at, I think she's huge, not only for what she's doing, but for the future as well.
She,
Go ahead.
She's just a breath of fresh air. We've talked about all these guy players that the 13th Breach has had, Trent, Reed, but it's great to hear a story of a young lady, 3,000 points, almost 2,000 rebounds. I think it's going to have a great opportunity to break that rebounding record if you can go deep in the tournament. But Coach, she's just not a good person on the floor. She's a great person off of the floor. Does a lot for the community, does charity work. She's just a great individual that nobody knows her whole story. And she's just a phenomenal athlete. Don't see too many of them kids.
Yeah, she's not only a great basketball player, she's a 4.0 student in the classroom. Just a great person with her teammates. With like Jeff mentioned, with our younger kids here, she's great with these younger kids. She's worked with some of these younger kids, giving lessons and so forth on fundamentals. So she's willing to give back and has given back a lot. So she's just a great person on and off the court.
Coach, we talked about her, and she's very deserving. We talked about, as a coach, is there a player that you're really proud of what they accomplished, not just on the court, but maybe even after they left basketball and went on with their lives, that you feel like you really had an impact on, and you were like, let me talk about this person? Because everybody knows that Haley is doing what she's doing, and it's phenomenal and it's great. Who's someone that you're really proud of what they accomplished that maybe the general public may not go, oh yeah, I remember that player. They were phenomenal. Who is someone you're really proud and you'd like to brag on a little bit?
I'll tell you what, we've got a young lady who graduated a couple of years for us, and she tore an ACL around Christmas time. She was a senior, one of our leaders, and she's came back the last couple of years. She's going to school now, and she's helping us. She's on our coaching staff. Emily Mills is her name. And just a great young lady. We really, when she got injured that season, it really set us back. And, she was great leader for us, but she's came back and given back to the program. And she's a big role model, makes a really positive impact on these young ladies. And I'm really proud of her for that, because she really does a great job for us. Being as a young lady, she can relate with these girls. And I think they really look up to her. So she's a positive influence, and she's a young lady that I am really proud of.
Coach, let me pick your brain a little bit on women's basketball, because for the last couple of years, it's really exploded. Obviously, Caitlin Clark clearly is, kind of the one that people talk about. There's a lot of young players that are doing good things. Candace Parker obviously is kind of out now, but she was a stud. We're really now starting to see women's basketball. They just had the 3-on-3 thing they just did. And the one-on-one thing they just did. We're really starting to see women's basketball explode in terms of attention. Are you starting to see those gains nationwide starting to take hold in Knox County? Are you starting to see young girls kind of want to maybe come out and play basketball more? Is it becoming more of a thing, do you think?
I think you mentioned Caitlin Clark, and, she exploded, on the national scene here. And I think she really has. I think she's with these younger kids. They kind of want to emulate how she plays, and it brought more, attention to the game, people watching the game. Before, people may want to watch a women's basketball game and may not, but she, her and, you got Breckers, I think, from Connecticut there, who's a nice player, similar to her. And, I just think they made it more entertaining. And I think it has drawn more interest, from this younger generation.
Yeah, I laugh because there was someone, they were talking about something, and it was like they showed the Chicago Sky or whatever. It was like there are 3 or 4 games before Caitlin Clark came to town. It was like secondary market tickets were like $20, $30. Then the Caitlin Clark game, the cheapest ticket was like $95. Then the game after it was like $30 again. I'm like, holy smokes, man! People, I want to see her play. When she was playing for Iowa, I didn't miss any of her games in the NCAA tournament because what was she going to do next, right? It was like, what's going to happen? So I love that. I love to see that part of the game, and I love to see it for young girls. I mean, growing up in the mountains, basketball's always been a thing, obviously, and girls have kind of always kind of played it. But it really feels like now more and more when I talk to coaches that the younger girls are really now getting into it, and what they're starting to do now are some moves that the guys would do, but girls wouldn't try. Now, some of the girls are trying to do these things with ball handling, with the shooting, because it's all Caitlin Clark do it. Are you starting to see that in terms of they're trying to do some things they didn't try before?
Yes, I think you're right. I think in watching her play and with the logo threes and, the Euros and no-look passes and all that, I think it's something that, you saw in the men's game or the guys' game, before, but she's kind of brought that to the ladies' game, and it made it kind of cool again, and I think these younger kids, you see them wanting to get in there and doing the 1 hour fundamental drills, with the ball handling and all that, something like you would have the boys do before. But I really think she's taken it to another level and really rejuvenated the interest right here for the young girls. We see it here as well.
Is that exciting for you as a coach then to see like more girls get more interested in the sport? Because first of all, you got a deeper pool to pull from, so I'm sure that's good. But gosh, man, that's got to make your heart feel good to see these girls get really excited about it, though, right? Too.
It is. And I don't know if you all have watched us and the way we kind of, the way I coach and the way we want to play. It's not your normal girls basketball, walk it up, 35 to 30. We want to get up and push, get out and run the floor, and I know you have to have the kids to do that, but we really want to get out and go, and kind of make it entertaining, fun to watch, kind of like not watching paint dry. A lot of people used to say that's what girls basketball, why are you doing this? But I really think, we've kind of changed it here to where we're, it's an entertainment and people want to come watch, and the young kids want to come watch and they want to play that style. They see the men's side and now a lot of the women's side playing the transition basketball, getting up and down, shooting the threes, and I can see a difference, and I can see a difference here, and we tried to emulate that to some point, with what we can.
I know today the UK women got their 20th victory today. Blowout fashion over the Lady Dogs, Georgia.
Yes,
I love watching the women play, fast pace, up down the floor. Now once he gets a chance to recruit and get some of his people in there, Kentucky's going to be a top 5 school. But what they've done this year, people are noticing, and they want to be just like Kentucky. And you talked about play your style. Everybody's playing like the Lady Cat style. Up and down the floor, get up, go, get up, go.
Right, and I think that's the way the people want to play, and they've got a really nice point guard. I don't know if you've watched them. I mean, Coach Brooks brought her with him there, Amore. I mean, she's a very nice. And I've talked to a few of our guards here, and I said, girls, have you watched her play? You need to. She's undersized. She's 5'4", 5'5", but she gets to her spots on the floor. She's crafty. She's he's going to do very well at Kentucky once he gets his feet under him with the recruiting, and I really like watching them play, and we tried to emulate some of the things they do.
Well, they had 5 players in double figures today in their win over Georgia, and she led them with 21. You get 5 players in double figures, that means you're getting the ball up and down the floor.
Yes.
Yeah, and oddly enough, I covered Kenny Brooks for part of a year when I was my last year in TV, when I was in Roanoke, because I was covering Virginia Tech. I actually covered his introductory press conference with Virginia Tech. And everybody told me, they're like, no, Jeff, this guy's a steal. He's a young guy coming up out of, where was he before? JMU or something like that. He was, he was at JMU. James Madison. Yep.
Yeah.
And then he came and trust me, he's going to be great. And he was fantastic at Virginia Tech. And then UK got him. I'm like, oh, they're going to like him at UK, especially once he brings some girls over from Virginia Tech. And as you said, CJ, when you recruit some more, they're going to get – people forget UK was an excellent women's basketball program not that long ago. So there's no reason they can't be again. And I think that there's going to be, as you said, Coach, they're an exciting brand of basketball. That's what the girls want to play. They don't want to get the rebound, walk it up the court, stand at the top of the key, throw it to the wing, throw it back, throw it to the other side, throw it back. Nobody wants to play that, let alone watch it. So I'm glad to see that change.
I'm the same. He's – like you say, he's in a great spot, a great conference. They've remodeled, redone Memorial up there. So he's got the facilities to help sell his program, and the style of play and his approach. I don't know if I'm sure Jeff, you all have listened to him here, and his interviews and his press conferences and his approach and the interaction he has with his black players there, the connection. The point guard we talked about, she's just like an extension of him. They've been together so long, and he trusts her, and she kind of runs the team. But I've been really impressed with him.
I'll tell you, Kenny Brooks, there's one word I use with Kenny Brooks that I also use with Mark Pope, which I really love, genuine.
Yep.
They're both genuine. With what you see with Mark Pope and what you see with Kenny Brooks is who they are. Can they coach basketball? I think so.
Yes.
But either way, whether they coach basketball or not, what you see is what you get. They are good, genuine people, and I like that. And that makes me want to cheer for them.
I know one thing that Coach Brooks, he likes for you. If you got a Sunday afternoon and your team ain't doing nothing, we want you to bring your team to Memorial Coliseum and watch us play. We want you to be a part of our family. We want to see if we can say, maybe one of your kids might want to play here someday.
Right.
And then he and the men, and Coach Pope's doing that with the men more. So, they're genuine. You're right on that, Jeff. It's a good time to be a UK fan right now. But I like where we're going. Wins and losses are not important to me. It's where the program's going. I think we're going nothing but straight up.
Yeah, I think both of those guys' connections. They're connecting with the fan base. Like you say, they're genuine people. It's not a front. It's not the ego is not there, so to say. They're about the program. They're letting the program, and they want the fans to be a part of the program. And I feel it's a fresh start. It's funny it's happened. 2 new coaches in the same year, and similar personalities and similar approach to what they're doing. But it's a fresh start for me for sure, because I enjoy both of them. Like you say, we want to win, but I feel like, first year they've exceeded probably where we thought they would be, and I think the future is definitely bright.
Agreed, Coach. They definitely have exceeded beyond people. I laugh. It's almost like I always say a lot of coaches become victims of their own success, because I believe UK men were picked 8th in the SEC preseason poll, right? So they were barely even top 25 as a thought. And now they're 15th and they lose a game, and people are like, oh, Mark Pope is blowing it. And I'm like, guys, they're way ahead. But he's a victim of his own success early on by beating Duke, beating Tennessee twice, beating Florida. And now people expect them to win a national title his first year, when really they were just hoping that they would survive the first season.
Beat 7 top 10 teams.
And now people expect them to win every night. I'm like, guys, 3 months ago, we were just hoping they would finish 500 in the SEC. So I'm telling you what I would love to see. I would love to see, when the season's over, both Mark Pope and Kenny Brooks together go on a tour around the state of Kentucky, popping in different places, doing some talks and some stuff. I think that those two could own the state of Kentucky, because I think that they are winning and they're genuine. And I think people would really rally around them, and they could really build up some goodwill in the state if they did a state tour.
I think
I totally agree. I mean, Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because the fans have bought into them at this point anyway. And like you say, you know, we got spoiled a little earlier there, beating Duke, getting Tennessee at their place. And, you know, people like you say, you know, we're starting with a brand new team here. Totally brand new coach. And like you say, I think we're a victim of our own success. But these two guys really, I think, like you say, you know, their recruiting is going well. I think after the season, I think they could really own the state because they know how to connect with the fan base, not just the front rowers up there, but they can connect with the people sitting up top, you know, all over, you know, and they see that and they understand that. And that's the reason I think they'll be successful.
Exactly. Dead on.
All right, Coach. I'm guessing your game's been canceled for tomorrow, correct?
It has, CJ. Yeah, we've had to cancel.
So you're in a boat like many of the others. Probably won't. You're done then for the regular season if you don't get anything scheduled or the weather.
Yeah, we're trying to find one this week here. Tomorrow was our scheduled senior night, so we're trying our best to round another one up here toward the end of the week if possible.
Yeah, I hope you do find something, Coach. And you're much in the same boat as Harlan County boys. They're in the same. They was I think supposed to play your boys tomorrow night, and
they were. Yes,
they had to cancel it, so now they're looking for a game in the middle of the week. So yeah, Coach, it's always a great honor to have you on the show. You're a good man. You've been doing great work there at Knox Central. Keep up the good work, and we will talk to you very soon. And wish you the best of luck in the tournament.
Okay, thanks, CJ. Thanks, Jeff. Thank you all for having me. Y'all be safe.
Good luck.
You have a good one.
You too.
Steve Warren, the head basketball coach of the Knox Central Lady Panthers, as they get set for their tournament and hope to find a game. Now, should we do it now, Jeff, or later? Your first time guest, you're supposed to get an initiation. Should we do it now or wait?
Oh, we'll just bring them on. Let's go. Let's go. It's always exciting to see, as an old WYMT person, I get excited when I see other WYMT.
See, but you know not much about her. And see, I'm giving her the floor for 2 minutes.
Tell us about yourself. This is like a job interview all over again.
Job interview. You have 10 minutes.
The job interview. Gotta love it.
Tell us all about yourself and about how you ended up at WYMT and about how it's going so far.
Well, I mean, it's been an interesting first, month or so at the station. The first week I was here, we were dealing with snow. And then it seems like every other weekend there's been rain. And then, of course, with the flooding, I've had to kind of shift over to that news weather reporter for the last couple of days. But as far as the area, I like the area. People are very nice. Once I tell people, I just moved here, that usually gets the conversation going. I'm originally, my dad's in the Air Force, or was in the Air Force, but so I started off in North Carolina. That's where I was born. And then we actually got to go overseas in Germany for 4 years. And then we moved to Texas when I was like 11. So I was in Texas from 11 until I graduated about a month and a half ago, and then moved here. But again, so far I'm liking it. The Kentucky basketball is, you hear about it and you understand that there's a culture behind it. But then when you're actually here, it's definitely a sight to see, especially in these smaller counties across East Kentucky, how much the cities actually rally around those communities. And I got lucky. Armando Berry, who I'm guessing has been on here a couple of times, me and him went to the same college, so he's kind of been a reminder of home. Can
the same college handle both of you? Oh my Lord!
Wait,
I don't know.
Is that North Texas?
Those professors.
Yeah, that's North Texas.
They had their hands full, I bet.
Hey, Mean Green, they're having a great basketball season this year. They're actually having a really good year.
They are, especially under Ross Hodge. You know, once Grant McCaslin left, we weren't sure how we were going to do, and it's almost like Grant
Talking about
McCaslin's
Tulane?
not
You
gone.
talking about
Ross Hodge
Tulane?
is really. Sorry,
So-
what was that?
Talk about Tulane.
No, North
UNT.
Texas.
North
Oh,
Texas.
North Texas. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
North Texas, the mean green,
Yeah.
as opposed to the green wave. Yes, there's too much green going on here. Too
Well,
much going on here.
North Texas reminds me of that movie. You know the
Necessary
football movie.
roughness.
Yeah.
Necessary roughness. Yes,
That's
fantastic movie.
that
Yeah.
school will always be known for that movie because
CJ, you know that movie came out before she was born, right? You're really
I know
aging
that.
yourself.
Yeah, but it was a great movie. I'd watch it all day. That's
Actually,
You know, 'cause
it is. It is
the
entertaining
guy-
if you can see
the
it.
guy that plays the main part in that. He used to be in NCIS New Orleans.
Scott Bakula.
Yep.
Scott
Yep.
Bakula.
He's
Yes.
a great actor.
And Kathy Ireland was the kicker. Yeah, it's a movie worth watching. It's pop some popcorn and watch it, but it's not a whole lot of thinking in it, but it's an entertaining movie.
I like you think of North Texas, that's when you think of them because that movie.
Yeah.
So,
Well, welcome to the mountains. It's a pleasure. I'm sure Armando probably talked a little bit about, when you're doing WYMT and you're doing sports, it's a fraternity, it's a sorority, whatever you want to call it. It's a brotherhood, it's a sisterhood.
Jeff, you order pizza. You got to get her some pizza.
I got to send you some money for pizza at the end of the year. It's kind of become my tradition now. I send you guys pizza money to buy some pizza because I always got to support, as an alumnus of WYMT and as sports director there for 5 years. I always it has a place in my heart. It's not like it's wherever you go in your career, there's nothing else like WYMT. There's nothing else like the mountains and the people. And as you said, like you're used to covering high school sports, some people may care,
Right.
but it's different. You go here, wait till you do. Have you done like a Knott County versus Hazard game or anything like that? Like what's the biggest game?
I did. I went out with Armando in my second week here because he was on vacation my first week here, so I was doing more shadowing news reporters. But then once he got back, we both went out to a Hazard Perry game, which was a lot of fun.
Oh,
Yeah, the environment there was really good.
I covered a Hazard Perry game that had a fight that poured out of the stands. So yeah, I can understand that's a totally different beast, totally different environment. So you'll start to learn all these different rivalries, and it's tough because you came in the middle of the season, you are literally drinking from the fire hose right now. Like they're throwing all this information, and the people there expect you to know, all the coaches, they expect you to know what high schools they played for growing up. They expect you to know, state tournaments. Here's the biggest piece of advice I can give to you, even though you didn't ask for it. I'll give some unsolicited advice. Learn your history and know the things. Like the thing that got me in there, I'm a kind of a history buff and sports guy and things. When I got there, the very first months I was there, I studied. What I was doing on my days off, I was studying. They were like, so I was there like a month and people were like, oh, but you don't know who Irving Stepp is. And I'm like, oh yeah, Mr. Basketball, 1980 out of Phelps, averaged 35 points a game, or whatever it was. And people were like, whoa, it's that cred. It's that cred. So you start to understand these things. I could tell you all the state champions in football. I could tell you all in basketball. I've forgotten them now because I moved around other places and I had to memorize other places. But if you show if you're a genuine person, you show that you really care and you ask them questions. Like the biggest thing I did when I was there, when I went somewhere, they'd be like, what do you know about this place? And I would not a lot. Tell me, who's the greatest player ever played here? And people be like, oh, let me tell you. And they will. Yeah. And it's exciting. It's fun. So if you're genuine and you really want to learn, the mountain people are the best people because once they feel that you are genuine and you're there to help them, they will love you to no end. So
yeah, one of the first games I actually went to by myself, it was one of the Glory Road games out in Carr Creek when they were
inducting that I'm so jealous. I was trying to get back to those games, but I couldn't.
Yeah, the Glory Road games are a lot of fun to do. It was cool to learn about Carr Creek's history and their state championship.
1956, I think they won.
Yeah, 56.
Oh, look at that. Jeff still got it.
Brent was their gym got put on the Glory Land thing last Monday night. They played Prairie Central.
Oh, very cool.
That was a good game.
Prairie
Central was actually They were going to be MC Napier's Navajos that night, but something happened and they couldn't find jerseys, so they couldn't be the Navajos.
Like, I can even tell you at Car Creek, there was a guy named Glenn Combs who was one of the best three-point shooters in the ABA and then the NBA. So, like just knowing that history, really, if you were like, oh, Car Creek, Glenn Combs, they're like, oh, dang, she knows her stuff. Like, you'll pick up names. There's things you can learn that gives you instant cred. And I think I can already tell you're starting to get excited about it. You're starting to see the things that are cool and are fun. But once you learn that history, man, you're in like Flynn. People, they really will embrace you if you embrace them. That's what the people who struggle at WYMT in sports are, the ones who don't embrace history, who don't care, who don't understand why it's important, who these people are. But if you learn it and you kind of really embrace it and you get excited like they do, they will love you to the day is.
All right, basic facts, because if you don't know me, you're done. You're finished. If you don't know me, you gotta know me. I'm a yeah. You know me.
CJ is a legend in his own mind. So if you drop his
more than
don't you?
I get in my way more than I'm actually helping myself. So yeah.
What?
Here's a good question. You've been here about a month. What have you learned that maybe me and Jeff ain't told you about? Maybe something you learned on your own that we didn't know. Maybe we didn't know something.
That's a good question. I mean, this first month's been a lot of learning. But I definitely think
you have to make an adjustment you're making an adjustment on two sides. You're having to do the news and you're having to do sports. So
right.
I mean, you have to boggle the difference between flooding and people here than the Glory Day basketball game at the gymnasium. They're for sports, this is a great moment. Flooding in here, this is not a great moment. This is horrible.
Right.
And you have to adjust your,
A day before all the flooding hit, I was out in Pikeville. So, I mean, the fact that their community got hit so hard a day after I was out there, it was just crazy. And then there's kind of this switch you have to flip, when you're doing sports. It's fun, it's exciting, that these communities care about their basketball programs. But then on the other end, when something happens like this, the switch flips and you have to be serious. There's a fine line between interviewing people that want to talk versus just having to be okay with people not wanting to talk and understand, hey, this is a hard time. If you can't get the interview, don't force it out of someone, especially through a time like this here in Kentucky.
Yeah, because we're not, Kentucky's still going through from what happened 3 years ago. The floods that hit eastern Kentucky that night will be never forgotten. The images of people hanging from the trees, holding on for their life, to be set, and they're there for hours. Nobody can get to them.
Right.
And then what's happening in the last 2 days here, pictures you saw a poor old store owner trying to sweep water out of his store. But when he's sweeping it, water's not going nowhere because it just keeps coming in. It's heartbreaking. It tears me to pieces, and I don't like seeing that type of stuff because I have compassion for everybody, and that just breaks my heart.
Right.
Mackenzie,
it's definitely. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's your background in terms of sports? Do you have a favorite sport? Did you play something like what's the sport that you gravitate towards?
I played basketball all through my teenage years, and my parents, they were born and raised in Tennessee, so don't shoot me. I grew up a Tennessee fan. Don't kill me.
Listen, Pat Summitt was. Pat Summitt was the best
on Sunday.
Pat Summitt was the best coach of all time. I miss her. I wish she was. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you're all about basketball. Has Armando talked to you about the Sweet 16 yet? The girls and boys Sweet 16. Do you have any concept of what the girls and boys Sweet 16 is like in the state of Kentucky?
I
Greatest show in
don't, but I do know that we do get a mountain matchup in the 13th and 14th region, which will be really cool.
It's the Sweet 16 is something that's hard to explain to people until you experience it, because Kentucky is literally now, I believe, not counting Hawaii, the only state in America that still uses one classification, because Indiana switched 10 plus years back. So when you go down to Rupp Arena, I mean, it's a high school basketball game, but you have 5,000, 15,000, depending who's playing in the stands, and you're going, who are you people? Where did you come from? Don't you have jobs? Like, what do you? It's 11 o'clock on a Tuesday and Wednesday. What are you doing? And people take vacation to go see teams that aren't even theirs play because it's exciting. So for you, you're going to get baptism by fire when you go down there. I think it's extremely exciting, especially like you said, for boys. You're guaranteed one into the quarterfinals because someone's going to play. Like, I don't know how to prepare you for that to cover that, but man, it's going to be something special, I think, when you really get a chance to see what that is.
Yeah, it's funny too, because I was talking to Armando about, the way basketball works in Texas and the way it works in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, there's only one state champion. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, in each division? He's like, no, there's one state champion across the whole state of Kentucky. And coming from, North Texas, where you've got Dallas schools, Fort Worth schools, in my head, I'm like, how is that fair for these smaller county schools? But then you hear stories like the 1956 story, for example, when Carr Creek won their championship. And it's like, these small counties, they can do it. So it's really cool to see that these smaller counties, if they make it all the way to state, have the possibility of going up against maybe a Lexington school or a Louisville school, things like that.
More recent history of the Mountains, 2011, 10 or 11, Shelby Valley ended up winning state title, and they went up against a team out of Louisville. The team out of Louisville was giant. And Shelby Valley, their biggest kid maybe was 6'5", maybe. And Shelby Valley won the state title because they had played together forever. They had a great point guard who ended up going to Louisville and then transferring back out, who was phenomenal. And they were doing things. I remember there was one, the Louisville team pressed them, and Shelby Valley inbounded, and the kid catches it with his running towards, the inbounder, catches it, no look, flips it over his head to a teammate cutting down the other side of the court who caught it, goes one bounce pass past the defender for a lay-in. And I'm like, if it was in a movie, I would have been like, oh, that's so stupid. Nobody would do that. But these kids are like even a thing because they've been playing together for so many years and they caught lightning in a bottle. So it can happen. And that's just, that's magic. There's no other way to put it except for it is straight up magic. So, it's tough, and it is tough for our small schools and mountain schools. But man, when you catch it, it's Harlan County's run. It's magical when these runs to the Final Four, and people will talk about those. Carr Creek, they're still talking about it. Shelby Valley, I guarantee they'll talk about it, and that was 15 years ago. So it's when you experience it, it's something that you will never have experienced before in terms of covering or anything in sports.
Breaking news. William Byron just won the Daytona 500.
Oh, geez, that thing's still going on? I know.
Yeah, they had a 2.5 hour rain delay.
Okay.
So they only got 11 laps in before the storm come. They finished up. It was just ended about 10 minutes ago, and William Byron wins his second Daytona 500. So
very cool.
Yep.
Mackenzie, when you look at
we break all sports here. We're just not focused on one. We focus on all.
What are you most excited about? What are you most excited about, Mackenzie, coming up down the road? What are you looking at going, man, this excites me? Are we talking district tournament play, region tournament play? What are you really excited about?
I think based off of what I've heard from you and Armando, I think the Sweet 16 will be really exciting, especially given, we'll see a mountain matchup there. And there's some other schools that really can, have some competition and, make it.
Let me tell you, if
Final Four, things like that.
If you make it to these games, and you get there in enough time.
Come together for that.
If you make it to the games in enough time, you need to establish the hospitality rooms. You need to know where they're at all times. I look for great food is when I go to these tournaments.
CJ
So-
just goes for the free ice cream. Let's be honest. CJ,
Who wouldn't go for free ice cream?
CJ fully embodies the old phrase from Reporters. If you haven't heard this yet, if it's free, it's for me. That's CJ. You know, if it's free, it's for CJ. That's yeah.
They said hospitality room, go eat all you want. I'm taking advantage of that. Sorry, I'm just going to do it.
Now, when you're looking at coming up, have you started looking at some of these region tournaments? We've been talking to 13th region coaches tonight. Have you started to kind of look at those 13th region boys matchups? I mean, that tournament's going to be crazy.
Yeah, the 13th region. I mean, you've got Harlan County, Bell County is doing really good. North Laurel, South Laurel. I mean, the 13th region, just the 13th region tournament is going to be a sight to see, just with all the competition there, especially with, Maddox Huff at Harlan County.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Jordan Mabe at South Laurel, both committed to different colleges. I got to go to the Harlan County South Laurel game, I believe this past Monday. Ended up being, I believe, a 4-point game at the end. It was cool to see those two schools compete. And if we get to see them compete again, I think it'll be just as exciting.
Yeah, that 13th region is exciting, and it's cool because it's it's over at the arena, and you can. The nice thing there is you can kind of set up and just edit, and then get start shooting the next game, and it's always easy when it's kind of all compacted right like that. Now I'm old. You guys are cheating. You've got laptops, and you just edit on that and hit a button and send it off, and it's all good. Me, I had I was tape to tape still when I left WYMT. So we would have to edit on this giant laptop that weighed 50 pounds, and it was on a tape. And then we had to drive as fast as we could back to WYMT.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that I drove a little bit fast and broke some speed limits, but I can tell you I've hit some speeds in some station vehicles that I would not admit to what I hit on here. And now you guys don't have to do that because now you guys can just hit a button and send everything digitally. So I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, we love WeTransfer at WYMT now.
Yeah, WeTransfer is great. I use that sometimes, even in my job now. Anything in Google Drive. But man, that's so nice. And I'm excited for you to get into district play because it's a different level. The energy ramps up because it's a winner go home situation. And then when you get in the region, it really gets exciting. I know, like I said, you're drinking from the fire hose. I mean, it's not even the history. You're trying to learn where a school is, let alone who the coach is, what they've done in recent years. So I get it. It's tough. Best answer to do is study.
Have you heard if I know the past 3 seasons, the 13th region tournament's been on YMT, the whole tournament, boys and girls. Are they going to do that again this year? Have you heard?
I have heard. I know that we've gone through some downsizing at WYMT, so I'm not sure how that's impacted all of that yet. That's more of an Armando question.
Yeah. Yes, but I mean, but you're just like it's like he's right here. So we'll just ask you because listen. I don't throw the hard questions at just him. We throw them at all people.
Yeah.
I know we're going to try to cover as much as we can, but with the downsizing, it'll be tight for sure.
Yeah. Have you got any more games scheduled for the final week of the regular season? Depending what the weather does.
Sorry, he froze up there.
What you got any more YMT games of the week before the district starts?
I think we have one more. I'm not sure if we selected it. Let me check my email because I know Armando has sent some things out. Let me see.
Wish I still, at one point I had a spreadsheet with all the pertinent information of all the state champions and all the Mr. and Mrs. basketballs and things. And I don't have that spreadsheet anymore. Gosh, I wish I did. I would kill for that. I need to recreate that.
Yeah, I think you need to do that, Mr. Archer. But when I bring you to the next show, you have to have that homework done.
Oh my gosh, CJ, you're putting.
Okay, so next week our game of the week is going to be Bell County at Whitley County.
Okay, yes, that'll be a good one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay,
Then
Good.
you guys may do a tournament game in the district depending on who the teams are.
Can you say that one more time?
You might do a tournament game depending on how everything works out.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to keep her very much longer because it's her first visit, and I need her to come back. I want her to come back more.
Told you to be nice, CJ. Nice.
Well, I mean, I
that
want
word
to go early because I got tons of questions for her, but we wanted to know more about her. So I was being nice. Well, actually, we'll let her do all the talking. Let her tell us the likes and do's of Mackenzie. The next time she comes back, then we get down to nitty gritty. We say, tell me who you think's going to win the 55th district, or who do you like in the 48th. So she's going to have those answers when she comes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm still learning the districts, but I'm getting the regions down pretty good right now.
It's not easy. Like, I went through it too, so I get it. It's tough, but like I said, I studied, and I know it sounds funny. People are like, what did you do when you got to WYMT? I'm like, I studied, and they're like, were you in school? And I'm like, oh no, this was real studying. This is like time to learn and earn your keep. So yeah,
right.
You're gonna learn real quick, and you'll be ready to go next football season. But you'll learn real quickly as you go through basketball, and because people will. I'll put it this way: you'll learn because people will tell you, whether you want to know it or not. People are going to tell you things, and all I can say is listen, because you'd be surprised how educated and how knowledgeable people are about the regions, districts, and everything else.
Oh yeah.
So
well, Mackenzie, I want to thank you so much for being with us. I don't know if it'll be you next week or Armando. He usually tells me on Tuesdays if it's him or if it's going to be you. So whatever one it is, we'll be honored and always ready for that. Next week will be the start of the district tournaments on Monday night. We'll talk about district basketball next week and everything. Mackenzie, thank you so much for being with us. It's an honor.
Thank you.
You go enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will talk to you very soon.
You too. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
You have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. Mackenzie Freeman of WYMT. She's the new face you'll be seeing around here. Two things with you before I go into my final notes. Number one, I want to get your final thoughts on Philip Haywood. I know you covered Coach Haywood a long time. You was a great friend with him, and that. And there's also wanting to know what's done about the passing of Donnie Gray. You was around too when he was still coaching a little bit there at the end. But your thoughts on those two passings before I get to my final notes.
I mean, I think that they're both, the impact of what they did in the mountains cannot be fully measured because it's well beyond the wins and losses. Sometimes, we talk about a coach's career in terms of wins and losses because that's easy because you can Google it and see it. But to understand what they did, especially Philip Haywood, I knew him really well. To understand what they truly meant and truly did, the wins and losses aren't how you measure them. And Philip Haywood, by all measurements, in his case, including wins and losses, state titles, and everything else, and who he was as a person, he stacks up as high, if not higher, than any other coach we've seen in the history of the mountains. His passing is tragic. It's a huge loss to Belfry and to all the mountains as a whole. And I just think it's difficult, but at the same time, if we learn from what he taught everybody, not just his players, but all the fans, even opponents' fans, if we learn the lessons that he laid down, then his life will be well lived. And I think that we did learn those. So both those coaches, legendary, but for much, much more than simply what they did on the field and on the court and everywhere else.
Yeah, no question about that. I want to thank everybody that watched the show tonight. I do apologize. I believe that we were having a lot of difficulties. I didn't see a lot of eyes. Now, there was probably people watching on YouTube and D&D. We didn't get to see the numbers, but I know there's a lot of people out there watching. So what you did watch, thank you. I want to thank my guests, my Jones brothers, Kyle and Michael. I want to thank Coach Steve Warden from Knox Central. And, of course, Mackenzie being with us. I'll be back with you next Sunday night for another edition of the CJ Harlan Show, episode number 21. My co-host is going to be Eugene Farmer. We're also going to be joined by James Turner. If you guys do not know James is part of the world's most famous sports talk on WJND or it's out of Jackson, Kentucky, 97.8. You can hear him every Monday night. They interview some of the top people in sports. Well, he's going to be with me on Sunday night. We're also supposed to be joined by Bell County head basketball coach Brad Sizemore. It will all depend on the health of his baby, if he'll be with us or not. Again, I want you to pray for Coach Sizemore and his family as the baby is recovering in a hospital there. And looks like keep your prayers moving for Coach Sizemore and them as well. I want you to also go to my Facebook page, CJ Harlan page. I want you to like it. I want you to share it with everybody else. I want you to go to my YouTube page. I want you to subscribe and be a subscriber ever help me out. Follow me on TikTok. Guys, I go on TikTok on Wednesday nights from 7 to 8 every Wednesday night. I do a little sports thing. Check me out if you're on TikTok. Throw me some, go over and be a supporter. Come up there and support me. And Jeff, give me your final thoughts and we'll get out of here.
CJ, it's a tough time in the mountains. And honestly, every time I see rain forecasts, heavy rain for Kentucky, it scares the hell out of me. I'm just going to put it that way. But the one thing I do know is that the people in the mountains are extremely resilient and they're extremely helpful and that they are phenomenal at helping their neighbors out. All I can say when watching, if you need help, ask for it. I think you'll find it because the people around you, you know that they care and they love you. And everything that the mountain struggles with, a lot of times the neighbors can help them out. So in a world where you can be anything, CJ, be kind.
Yep, always. And give it to me one time for Coach Haywood as he's in heaven. Give it to me one time. Let me hear it.
One time for the coach?
Yep.
Arr.
There we go. Yeah. All right. Again, I want to thank everybody for being a part of the show tonight. And I want you to come back and support me next Sunday night. We'll be back with another episode of the CJ Harlan Show. This is CJ Harlan, running third, heading for home. As Casey would say, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for those stars. Love you all. God bless you. And good night. Also, prayers for all of the flood victims that's going through right now. For Coach Sizemore, for my ex-wife's cousin, Robert, and some others. Please pray for everybody if you will. Thank you, and good night.